jets are the most exciting aircraft in the sky. And this is the most exciting of all the fast jets. Popularly called the Blackbird, the Lockheed SR-71 was at one time a top-secret reconnaissance aircraft which flew so fast and so high that nobody could shoot it down. First flown in December 1964, it served the U.S. Air Force until the end of 1989. With a shape like nothing else in the sky, it could cover a mile in just over a second and a half. Flying at heights of up to 16 miles above the ground, a single SR could photograph 80,000 square miles of territory in an hour, probably without anyone on the ground knowing it was being done. The two huge Pratt & Whitney engines gulped fuel rapidly, so on many missions, the Blackbird had to slow down, come downstairs, and formate carefully behind a tanker, in this case, a KC-10. It had to be a special tanker, carrying special fuel, called JP-7. The boom operator aboard the tanker had the sole responsibility of driving his pivoted boom into the SR-71's receptacle. How much fuel? We'd like 12,000 gallons, please, and you might wipe our heat-resistant, bird-proof windshields. The landing might be half a world away, probably in California, or Okinawa, or, as in this case, Mildenhall in England. Aircraft enthusiasts everywhere will miss the jagged black monsters. Another world beater that has been around a long time is the General Dynamics F-111, popularly called the Aardvark because of its long nose. The F-111 first flew just one day ahead of the SR-71 on December 21, 1964. It was planned as a fighter, but entered USAF service as the world's best all-weather tactical bomber. Even today, this F-111F, taxiing out from its bomb-proof shelter at Lakenheath, England, can fly precision attack missions over long ranges in all weather that few other aircraft could accomplish. The 111 was the first aircraft in service with pivoted swing wings. These are spread out to a wide span for a heavily laden takeoff. Long flames from the TF-30 engines thrust it down the runway, and when throttled back, provide economical propulsion for anything up to 2,900 miles. In this aircraft, pilot and navigator sit side by side. The right-seater manages a mass of electronic displays and navigation, weapon, and electronic warfare controls, leaving the pilot to drive the 50 tons of supersonic metal. This F version has a PAVE-TAC pod recessed into its belly to provide infrared pictures of the ground and accurate laser ranging to the target. The PAVE-TAC screen looks the same day or night, or even in fog, so the bomb can always be put on the target. Then the PAVE-TAC pod is retracted back inside. Its laser can illuminate targets for the Paveway missiles carried under the wings. These are really laser-guided bombs with pinpoint accuracy. The USAF has about 380 111s, and they are being progressively upgraded with new equipment to keep them on the top line. One of the smallest of the fast jets is the Jaguar, a neat little bird with stocky legs to give plenty of ground clearance even with huge tanks or bombs underneath. Britain and France collaborated to build 573 for various customers. These three are seen on takeoff from Lancashire on their delivery flight to Oman in the Persian Gulf. Each has two tiny afterburning turbofan engines, which give really economical and reliable power over the most arduous missions. As for those long legs, the landing gears have to be not only long, but also strong and well sprung to withstand takeoffs from rough strips. In any war, an aircraft parked on an airfield will vanish on day one, so it helps to be able to take off from any bit of open country. The Jaguar's primary missions are low-level tactical attack and reconnaissance, but customers can have over-wing pylons for air-to-air missiles, such as this red-painted Magic. RAF Jaguars have done well in red flag exercises in the USA, proving to be very tough and elusive. One American fighter pilot trying to intercept Jaguars said, "These boys really shave the rocks. Their tactics are good, very good." In the chisel-like nose is a laser for giving precise target range, which is vital in putting ordinary iron bombs accurately on the target, and the tiny Jaguar can carry nearly 5 tons of bombs. And how about this? The first Jaguar to land on a stretch of British highway and then take off again. RAF Jaguar pilots train in Welsh or Scottish valleys, keeping low. The HUD, the head-up display, provides the guidance the pilot needs as he threads his way over the ground at nearly the speed of sound. One of the few aircraft designed to be equally good at both the fighter and the attack mission, the McDonnell Douglas FA-18 Hornet has been sold to many countries, despite the fact that it was designed to fly from aircraft carriers. Steam catapults brutally fling the Hornet off the bows perhaps 6 times a day. A beautiful aircraft to fly, the Hornet was developed from a Northrop lightweight fighter intended for use from airfields. It pioneered modern cockpits, in which traditional dial instruments are almost completely replaced by 3 giant color electronic displays. Above the nose is a 20mm gun, and external racks are provided for various weapons, including large radar-guided air-to-air missiles. The aircraft's radar is so good that although designed more than 10 years ago, it is being forcibly proposed by Germany for the European fighter aircraft for the next century. On top of all that, the Hornet is as agile as they come. In contrast, the Grumman F-14A Tomcat is a heavyweight, the backbone of the air defense of the U.S. Navy's giant carriers since 1974. From the start, it has been a belt and braces aircraft with 2 engines, 2 crew, swing wings, a gun, and no fewer than 3 classes of air-to-air missile. Powered by 2 TF-30 engines related to those of the F-111, the Tomcat suffered various problems. But today's F-14A Plus and F-14D with General Electric engines not only has greater reliability and safety, but considerably enhanced performance. F-14 pilots periodically go to Miramar or similar U.S. Navy stations where Top Gun instructors hone their skills to razor sharpness. The big F-14s are pitted against F-5, TA-4, Kfir, or F-16N opponents, which use every trick in the book to make life hard for the pupil crew, no matter what their rank or experience. Out on the range at China Lake or Point Mugu, the Tomcat can fire its huge Phoenix missiles, the West's only AAM able to intercept hostile targets from a range of over 100 miles. Each AIM-54 Phoenix costs over $1 million, but is worth it if it means a kill every time, and from such a distance. Back at the home carrier, the Tomcat slams onto the deck and hopes to pick up the third of the ship's arrestor wires to be brought to a shuddering halt. Even seen in slow motion, the typical carrier landing is visible torture to the aircraft. No wonder Grumman is known as the Iron Works, because their aircraft never break. Newest French fighter is the Dassault Rafale, a name which means squall or hurricane. Powered by two new M88 afterburning turbofans, the Rafale is packed with the latest fighter technology and has the fashionable configuration of a giant delta wing and canard foreplanes. It is being developed in two forms, the Rafale D and Rafale M. The D will be a two-seat multi-role land-based fighter, 250 of which are needed by the French Air Force. The M will be a single-seat carrier-based fighter, 86 of which are wanted by the French Navy. Like all modern dogfighters, the Rafale can have engine thrust greater than the clean gross weight, and it carries various missiles as well as a gun. By March 1989, the prototype had made 92 practice approaches to French aircraft carriers, though, of course, with no arrestor hook, it could not land. But the French Navy may need to buy Hornets to tide them over until Rafales are available in late 1998. This is the EAP, a British prototype which is assisting the development of the European fighter aircraft. First flown in August 1986, the EAP is powered by two RB-199 engines, and here has all the features of a modern fighter designed for close combat, apart from armament. Its huge wing, with an area of 560 square feet, combines with canards and brute engine thrust to give unsurpassed maneuverability, and also extremely short takeoff. The program for the eventual EFA has been clouded by shoestring funding, delays, and disagreements between the partners, which are Britain, West Germany, Italy, and Spain. There is even a suggestion that the thaw in the Cold War may result in the project's cancellation. But EAP remains a vital research and training tool for use should EFA actually go ahead. One program that was never troubled by arguments or indecision is the General Dynamics F-16 Fighting Falcon, of which more than 4,000 have been ordered. All over the Western world, if you asked a fighter pilot what he would like to fly, the chances are he would say F-16. You program the displays, open the throttle to the mighty engine, and simply leap into the sky. Once airborne, you have the most agile thing in creation. Lying back in a reclining seat under a canopy like a giant goldfish bowl, you can see everywhere. And if you really feel up to it, you can slam into a sustained 9G turn, something no Western fighter could do previously. The one shortcoming of the F-16 was the lack of a long-range missile, but that is rectified by the new AMRAAM now coming into service. The F-16 pilot merely sets up his HUD for the air-to-air mode and puts the Pipper, the aiming mark, on the target. Then he virtually cannot miss. Head-on, the F-16 has a mean shot-like look, and it's curtains for any of the bad guys who get such a view, because they'll never escape. The F-16 is also one of the world's best ground attack aircraft. Early versions could only fly this mission if the pilot could see the target. But since 1986, extra equipment called Lantern has allowed precision attacks to be made at night or in bad weather. The avionics warn the pilot not to make a turn towards high ground. They tell him to pull up when he gets too low. The pilot can even see an infrared image of targets as small as a tank. One advantage the F-16 had over a rival was that its engine was the same as that of the F-15 Eagle. The difference being that the mighty F-15 has two. With 48,000 pounds of thrust, even the weighty Eagle fairly leaps into the sky. And if it is lightly loaded, it can climb straight up and stay that way until it is out of sight. But the F-15 was not designed just to thrill airshow crowds. It was originally designed in 1970 to beat the Soviet MiG-25 Foxbat, and since then it has been undisputed king of the U.S. Air Force. Despite being a large aircraft, the F-15 is agile, and the nimble F-5 Tigers of the aggressor training schools find them very hard to beat, which is as it should be. Here, an F-15 fires one of the new AMRAAM Fire and Forget missiles, which are now being issued to F-15 squadrons around the world. Today, McDonnell Douglas is flying the SMTD, meaning Stall and Maneuvering Technology Demonstrator, an F-15 with vectored engine nozzles and Canard foreplanes, giving it shorter field length and even greater in-flight agility. The F-15E two-seat all-weather attack fighter is another new version. The RAF's counterpart is the Tornado F-3, but this is a very different animal. The interceptor version of the Tornado multi-role attack aircraft. Instead of having huge and thirsty engines, the F-3 has quite small power plants, giving it the economy to fly from Britain to somewhere like Iceland if necessary, even in a blizzard or at night, to investigate unidentified air prowlers. Again, like the F-14 and the F-4, the crew sit one behind the other. The backseater manages 3 multi-function electronic displays, though the pilot also has a display on which he can see various pictures, the most notable created by the radar. The main armament comprises 4 big radar-guided missiles, either Sparrows or Sky Flashes, recessed under the Tornado's broad belly. With wings folded back, the Tornado can make a dash at Mach 2.2, but with them spread out to the maximum wingspan, the heavy aircraft can fly slowly and operate from very short airstrips. This is the attack version of Tornado. It is shorter and looks chunkier. Each of the various customers has adopted particular weapon fits for their own particular missions. The West German Luftwaffe used the incredible MW1 dispenser, which can pump out up to 4,704 deadly bomblets in a single pass. 5 kinds of bomblet can be loaded for quite different purposes. In contrast, the West German Marineflieger, the naval air arm, used the heavy Cormoran-guided missile against ships. The RAF fly Tornadoes along training routes down the valleys even faster than Harriers or Jaguars. They hug the ground to practice keeping under hostile radars, and in war, the crews would have to be able to do this even at night or in bad weather. Thanks to its swing wings, which can be tucked in beside the body, Tornado gives its crews a much smoother ride at low level than any aircraft with fixed wings. Occasionally, Tornado crews fly up to Luce Bay in southern Scotland to practice aiming live iron bombs against a target on a tiny island. Usually, the bombs are 1,000-pounders, and almost always the crew gets a direct hit. Today's fast jets are bad news for the opposition.